All right, and welcome back to episode 059 of the OK podcast, powered by the Strength Co. I'm your host, Grant Broggi. Today is Monday, February the 10th in the year of our Lord 2025. The unfortunate circumstance that the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions is a reality we all woke up with today. We'll get to that game and more soon. The price of Bitcoin is $97,000, $581.97. Donald Trump is president. If you open up your Apple Maps, you'll see the Gulf of America just there south of Texas. There's a lot of stuff happening. 29 Palms, as we call it here in the high desert, is the high desert. This episode will come to you on Friday. Thanks for enjoying our Saturday surprise last week. Sorry, but we have been here 59 weeks in a row, which I find impressive.
Keep them on their toes. Keep
them on their toes. I'm joined in studio by way of video conference with the best logistics officer we've ever known, Trey Gottlich. And Trey, the name stands for three. In Spanish, it's tres. Have anything you want to announce?
Yeah, man. We had our tres niña born February 1st.
Mija.
Did I get that right? The conjugation?
Yeah, niña, I think, is a female child. Niña would be boy child.
Correct.
And then, no, mija would be sister.
That sounds right.
Or is
I go to you.
I'm the resident Mexican. I tell all the Mexican Marines that I'm Mexican. And they're like, really? I'm like, well, I mean, my wife's Mexican, so technically
close enough. Yeah, you married into it.
Mija Spanish means my daughter. Yeah, daughter. And
yeah, mija.
And then, so what's niña then?
Little girl, right?
Niña is girl or child. Okay. Yeah, I prefer mija. So you got tres mijas in tu casa.
See, yeah, man. It's February 1st, born at 4:22 in the morning.
I'd love those early risers.
One of those early risers, man. And it was a lot of fun. I did not realize how involved I was going to be in that birthing process.
Yeah. In South Carolina, we just call that childbirth.
It was so we induced early, right?
Yeah.
And so we go in, we start the induction process. Abby gets the epidural, and it's like midnight, and they're like, "Hey,
epidural? What a wimp! She couldn't just raw dog it."
That's what I said that the whole time. I'm like, come on,
I'm sure she loved that.
It was pretty nice. And so she got the epidural. It was like midnight. She's like, "All right, I'm at 6 centimeters, 10 centimeters. The go number, right?"
Big stats guy.
I go, okay, so about how long? She's like, about a centimeter an hour. So I'm like, okay, I'll get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep, have a baby, be good to go. Wake up at 2 a.m, said, hey, it's go time. And then the nurse wakes me up, and I go, where's everybody else? And they're like, it's just us. And I was like, fantastic. So it was me and one other nurse, man.
Squad.
Oh, nice. Yeah. It was a fire team minus doing it.
Hey,
so
sometimes all you need is that the point man, good saw gunner, and the rest is history.
It's one of those things that I was not expecting to be involved, but it was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen. So
it's a miracle. It's like unbelievable when you watch
100%.
it. And I mean, I know you already have two gals by the way of adoption, and like you see young human life, and I assume you have quite a few nieces and nephews like I do.
All nieces. Yeah.
All nieces. Okay. Interesting. So I like, you kind of think you have it figured out, but like when human life pops out and it's yours and you watch it, you're just like, I don't know how anyone doesn't believe in God.
Oh, like, dude, it was absolutely crazy. It was so crazy.
Well, congrats.
Appreciate it, man.
Are you sharing the name, or is that close?
Yeah. So it's Valerie Ruth Gottlich.
Okay, nice. And any family names in there?
So Valerie, no, we just both like that. That's what both name that we agreed upon. But Ruth's a family name, kind of on both sides. So
okay,
a little biblical.
Yeah, a little biblical, a little Ruth, a little
biblical Ruth. Yeah,
not a lot of options for female. I mean, I guess you could go like Tamra. There's some other options in there. I mean, technically in the lineage. So
yeah, and then Valerie's just big Steve Winwood fan.
Steve Wood. Do I know who that is?
There's an 80s guy. He has a song called Valerie.
Oh, man. In 5 years, 1980 will be 50 years ago.
That's so crazy.
That is just really crazy. Well,
Hey,
congrats.
We're getting old. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, congrats to mom and dad. And the first month is super simple. No one's stressed. Emotions are like kind of flatlined, is what I've always said. It's just a walk in the park. So make sure you're hitting your lifts. Make sure you're getting your 5x5s.
Yep.
Resting enough between sets and all that stuff. But congrats.
The casserole train started today too. So
it's the best, isn't it? You got anything good yet?
We had enchiladas that came tonight, so they're pretty good.
Like white people taco night, or is it like a Mexican?
No, it's 100% white people taco night. Yeah,
that's the best. Well, congrats, 3 kids. Send our love to Abby. If you want to support Big Trey, you can go click the Slack channel down below and join that, and you can ask him anything you want. And Trey, I would say, on a serious note, I know sometimes I'm kind of filled with humor. You should call BW and change your exemptions. Now you got 3 kids and a wife. The dependents are just growing like wildflowers, or hopefully wildflowers. Yeah.
Dude, I was emailing him in the hospital room. He sent me an email. Yeah, he sent me an email. As one does. Congratulations. He was like one of the first to congratulate me.
Yeah, I may have had a little something to do with that, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
He messaged me something about you. I forgot what it was. Had nothing to do with the baby. Maybe he needed to get a hold of you. Mm-hmm. And I just wrote back he's having his baby today. And he was like, oh, well, I mean, you can't wait forever on taxes, but I guess Trey can wait a few days. And then I sent him the photo when the baby was born, because he was like, keep me in the loop. He's a dad. He gets it. Twins on January 6th, largest really insurrection in history. Yeah.
Yeah. Better
taxes. Well, with that, we got a guest tonight. We're super excited to get on. We'll introduce him here when he comes on, and then our resident Mormon should come on soon. But before... We should see him any second, but before we get him on, I guess we should do a quick roll call. I guess the 3's out, so I guess the 3 alpha. I'll just get on. Trey, you'll have to do my part and be all the commodities out there. So let's start the roll call. Let's kick it off with the one shop admin. Admin, you guys here?
This is S1 alpha. S1's on leave.
Okay, on leave. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, good. 1's in the house. 2, Deuce. Do we get the Deuce here?
Lance Corporal here, sir. Deuce. He was still he's looking at maps. He's trying to get some maps.
Okay, did he laminate them yet?
Surprisingly, he was emailing. He emailed up the chain. He's trying to get it ASAP. When they're still broken.
Are you guys just waiting on word back on that?
Yeah, just waiting on word back.
Okay. Do you have any idea when you'll get the word back?
It's pretty soon, sir. I have a good feeling. Hopefully by next week I should have an update by you for next week. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks to, and just have the 2 find the 6 and make sure everything's good.
We'll do, sir.
Okay. Yeah. 3 shop. Are we here?
Oh, Miles to the 3.
Well, no. I mean, technically Jeff's the 3, but I guess the 3 alpha could be there.
Yeah, I said 3 alpha, sir. We fops and cops. They're all ready to present. Let me know the square's ready.
Wait, the future operations or the current operations?
A little bit of both, sir. Just the cops, the fops roll into the cops.
Okay. Did you guys set up the Power U like I briefed you last week inside the 3 shop, just so information flow can go well?
No, we haven't done that, sir.
Oh,
did you say you? Was it you?
Yeah, Power U. So what I'm kind of envisioning is in the battle center, we got the ops chief on one side and the 3 on the other side. We got the Deuce with his maps, admin, like a Power U. You know what I mean? Like a watch.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. No, that's a really good idea. No, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So did you guys do that?
No, we did not.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Got it. All right. Well, we'll come back to the 3 when 3 gets on 4.
Yeah. Brad, President counted for.
Okay. Did we get the Porta Johns locked down for Warriors?
So, sir, I submitted the 10-digit grid coordinates, and they should be there. The civilians
should be is the contract locked on?
It is locked on, but they will put those where they want to.
Okay, so we do have porta-johns, we just don't know where they're going.
Exactly. We don't know where they are within the battle space.
Okay, did you reach out to the fire support battalion and see if maybe they could get us a mensurated piss-off grid?
No, sir, I did not. But what I did do is I've been talking to the trash guy here recently.
Oh, the trash guy.
Yeah.
Any updates from him?
What's his call sign?
Trash 6.
No, Trash 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trash Actual.
Yeah, Trash Actual.
Yeah,
not confused with Trash OIC.
Yeah, I was talking to him, and he said that we've been having some issues with the trash. I don't know if we were separating. Are we separating those MRE heaters?
Well, this is a problem, reoccurring problem. So so first of all, like no one likes to take over a range when there's trash on it. I don't care who you are, but like you don't want trash on the range. And the thing is, it's not your range anyway. It's your battalion commander's range. And the MRE heaters need to be separated, even if they're not used or if they are used. And everyone's unclear. Well, if they're not used or they're used, they go in a different place. What I'll tell you, I don't freaking dang like is when I go into my friggin' dang motor pool on Monday and I see trash all over. So this is the problem with trash hierarchy. Okay. So you got battery commanders that don't like trash in their vehicles. So they walk the line, they make sure that everything's covered in a line, and then they pull the trash out of those vehicles. And they're officers. So they just leave it on the deck and expect someone else to clean it up.
Yeah.
And the Marines come back. And so that layer of trash, while it's secured, it gets secured in the battalion dumpsters.
Makes sense.
But they're not segregating over there. So now that next hierarchy of trash has a problem. And oh, by the way, the trash hierarchy above that is the guy that empties the dumpsters. And he won't pick it up if there's MRE heaters in there. So it's, we understand that everyone's working hard on the trash, but we got to deconflict these trash layers.
Sir, we're going to get smoked by the trash phasmo OIC.
Oh, man, the trash gallery.
Yeah, he's going to kill us. One thing I do want to update you on is how many vehicles do we have?
Working or just in general?
On the Teeny, how many do we, just in general?
Oh, we got 124 on the Teeny. 2 of them work.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Okay.
You already know. I was going to brief you on that.
Yeah. None of them are working. Yeah. The Blue Force trackers are also down, but hopefully they'll come back up soon.
Can you at least talk on them though? Send little messages?
No, we can't even use the dagger, but bad. One day. But
we'll use Waze.
Yeah, we'll come back and circle up with a 4. Is there a 5?
No 5.
No, okay, got it.
No,
X's dead. Exist. Great. Okay. Let's see. Motor T, you kind of covered Motor T.
Yeah.
Career planner, are you here? Career planner.
No, I think career planners with the who are they with?
I think
who's the lady?
I think they're with the MFLAC.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. The MFLAC. Yeah. Or the DPC, which I don't know what that stands for, but,
have you ever had the Wizard? The Wizard, has they briefed ever?
Yeah. The Wizard. Is that like they text you on Wicker? The Wizard. No, the Wizzo. Not to be confused with the Sacco. Hang on. I got some outlying stations coming in right now. Actually, I think the 3 may be on now.
Thank God he's here.
3, were you able to call in? 3, we can see you talking, but we can't hear you. I got your Teams feed up in the battalion conference room.
Radio check.
Oh yeah, 3. Okay.
How are my comms?
Comms are good. 3. Hey, so we talked to admin, and the admin chief's out getting an MRI on his shoulder, but his A/ is here.
Okay.
The Deuce, his A/ is also here. They said that the maps may be done next week.
Okay, good news.
For the 3 shop, you were gonna call in, so we just gave you a minute. We covered trash in the 4 shop. We talked trash hierarchy. There's been a little bit of a problem of the batteries have been doing a good job cleaning the trash out of the trucks, but then the trash isn't getting segregated as it goes into the battalion trash dumpsters. And then the trash OIC is upset when they come to pick up the dumpsters that it's not organized. The career planner's out. He's with the MFLAC and maybe someone called a Wizzo, which we're not sure who that is.
The Wizard. Has the Wizard ever?
Wizard, yeah. Okay. 3, I'm going to circle back to you and come back for that touch point.
Okay, good.
Chaps, are you here? Chaps.
Oh, no,
Yes.
Is RP
yes,
here?
Gentlemen, I'm here. Just want a quick little blessing for this meeting.
Chaps, could you just start us out with a prayer real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say that we are so blessed here to have all these patriots in the room here with us. Just commanders, sergeants major, other commanders, still learning the ranks of the Marine Corps. I just want to say we're so blessed to have the Marine Corps and the Navy, this one blue-green team fighting alongside each other for your glory and in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Would you say that God wants a Marine Corps or needs a Marine Corps, chaps?
I think both, honestly. Both.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, chaps. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
And remember, if you guys want to talk to chaps, it's an unrestricted report. You can talk to chaps anytime. You can tell him anything, and it's all confidential. But chaps, if anyone tells you anything that they did wrong in my battalion, you let me know. Okay. Just tell me. Don't tell anyone else. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, chaps. We talked about it. Well, 3, we got the agenda slide. We also have the 89.99s in the waiting room. Should we just let them in now?
Absolutely. But I just want to say apologies for being late. I was at the Dumpster Design Force 2027. I just want to say we got some great new MRE heaters that are coming out. A lot more to follow. I'll send out the slide deck to everybody so we can circulate that, down to the lowest level, because we want the boots on the ground, those devil dogs closing in the last 100 meters to know what's going on with these new MRE heaters. I think it's going to be real crucial to solving this trash crisis we have. Okay. Yeah.
A3, before I kick it over to the 89.99s, I just want to say, put it on SharePoint, but then share the SharePoint link on Teams, and send it via Teams in an email, so that way everyone can click in their email, go to Teams, download that app, and then click back over to SharePoint, and then not have access. But we'll make sure they get access real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I'm glad Jeff made it for that. He's so much better at it than I am. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. Let's see. We're just doing our roll call. We were just switching over to the 89.99s. We got through all the staff sections. Do we have any Diamond Life in the building?
Sure, y'all getting that PME done.
PME. No, we'll kick it right off. So we did do the roll call. We joined tonight by first sergeant. Sounds so weird. I mean, and great. It's just crazy, which I'm sure we'll get into. But Matthew Tomaszewski, the only name I've ever pronounced right in my life.
True. It's a big deal.
First sergeant type, North Carolina somewhere, right?
Yep, I'm in Greensboro right now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you're at Lejeune?
No, so my family and everything's still down in Lejeune, and in the summer I PCS to Greensboro to Comco in Marfort Reyes.
Welcome to the dark side. Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
The old Geo Bachelor life.
Yep. So quite a bit different.
So you're the first sergeant for comm company, because we have a comm company, right, Jeff?
Yeah, there's one within.
We have a comm
Marines.
company in 14th Marines, but they're out of like Ohio, maybe?
I think Cincinnati.
Cincinnati?
So you guys are in the division. Where I'm in MLG.
We're in the dimension, the 4th Marine dimension. Yeah. That's a little different. Okay, you're in the MLG,
right? So CLO 45 comm company.
Okay. I'll give a little
quarter jobs ready.
Yeah.
I'll give a little background, because every time we have a guest, people say that we don't introduce the guest. So, First Sergeant Ski was Sergeant Ski, one of the sergeants in Tango Battery when Second Lieutenant type Broggies and Biggies checked in. Big impact, lots of field shaves and surfing and double overhead going on. And then, now you're a first sergeant in the MLG, so that's wild. big lifter. He's a member of the Slack community. Just hit some big PRs. Let's just get right to it, though. Did you ever think you'd be a first sergeant?
No, and I actually never really planned on it. I felt that I was very technical in the MOS.
Yeah.
But the promotions just stopped. When they took the Master Sergeant billet out of HIMARS batteries, it just kind of stopped everything. And I was watching. So theoretically, if things were on track, I would have been promoted like 2 years ago. But when the promotion stopped, I watched all my peers get promoted to first sergeant, and I kind of held out for a little while. And I was just getting too close to the end that I needed to switch it up.
Yeah. How many years are you at now?
I'm at 18.
Oh, you're almost done.
Yeah.
Home stretch.
Yeah.
Are you
could drop my Appendix J.
Well, you wouldn't be a first sergeant if you didn't threaten dropping your Appendix J. That's like,
God, that's so true.
They put the diamond on and then they give you an Appendix J and they put it in your pocket. And if things don't go your way, you're just like, well.
Yeah. I haven't told anybody that, but I'm in the window.
All right. Okay.
In the window.
Well, nice. Let's see. Trey, do you remember Ski at all?
Vaguely, man.
Now that you see him?
I was over in Sierra Battery,
Yeah.
so y'all were right next door.
Right. I recognize you.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
Can't forget that face.
We're excited to have you on here. You know, it's the OK podcast is just blowing up so much. Trump was going to come on, but he had to go to the Super Bowl, so we backfilled it with you. All right, so Cannoneer 110, 210 to start.
Yep. So I actually started in 510 when there still was a 510.
The old core.
And then 110. I did deployment with 510, did one with 110. And then I came over when they stood Quebec battery up. So just before you all got there, there was no Quebec battery. And I was one of the NCOs that came over when they stood that battery up. And then shortly after that, ended up in Tango, then Romeo, Paris Island, and then back to 110 or 210, excuse me.
Old time as a hat down there.
Dude, did you check into 511 as a sergeant? Or did you pick up sergeant?
I was a sergeant when I got there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I got there in 2012.
Okay. Yeah. I always remember you as a sergeant.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine you as a corporal. You've always known way more than me. So I wouldn't want to view it any other way. No, we had some good times, which maybe we'll get to. All right. So let's talk about a couple of things. First, did you think that you would be a hat? So I poke fun at the first sergeant deal just because it's fun to do to people, because like guys that are like meat eaters in the field, you know, when you're young, you like kind of make fun of the first sergeants, like they don't do anything, which obviously isn't true. But like you're definitely like, if I went back through my Rolodex of Marines, like sergeants, like not a guy that I pictured to be a first sergeant. But with that said, did you think you'd ever be a drill instructor? Like, was that in your cards?
So when I was young, I wanted to be a drill instructor, like kind of, graduating boot camp, and the drill instructors that I had put an impression on me. And I was like, as a brand new PFC, I was like, oh, I'm going to come back and do this for sure. And then fleet life started rolling and deployments and things. And I was actually I guess the time when I should have done it, like after my first enlistment, you normally would encourage a young Marine to, select an SDA at that time. But after that enlistment, there was deployment, went on that. And then the 511 thing came up and I had the opportunity to go to that. So a bunch of things just started getting in the way. And then I got histed a couple times and was able to get disqualified to go on other deployments. And eventually,
I love that. That's a good thing.
Well, it was. So if I got my first hiss, I wouldn't have gone on that deployment in 2014 with you guys.
Right.
And then I was histed while we were deployed, and I was disqualified because we were in country at the time. But then they got me.
They
They got me. So I kind of, once I got older and I became a staff sergeant, I was like, okay, that's behind me. I don't really want to do an SDI. I knew it was important.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got me and I ended up going down there.
Okay, so let's. We used to talk lifting on this podcast. Now we just kind of talk about trash. But I am curious. I mean, what are you now? You're like 5'11", what, 220?
I'm 5'10" and a pretty fluffy 230.
Okay, I'm also 230 right now. I get it, man. I'm a dad too.
Yeah.
It sneaks up on you quick. I am curious. So I'll give some background. Sergeant Ski type, Lieutenant Broggi hit the gym pretty hard. I think both like average guys, but too hard headed not to just keep adding 5 pounds, and got like relatively strong. I want to get into your injury later maybe, but did you, like when you left 5'11", not your height, your battalion, you definitely weren't like 5'10", 180. Did you struggle going to Parris Island and like physically running, making the uniforms look good? Like, did you have to drastically change things, or did you just go in there like a meatball?
No, I actually was small. I wrestled 145 in high school. I think when I graduated, I was about 160. The end of boot camp, I was the 150, 160 range. I don't think I broke 200 until my second deployment in around 2010. And coming back from that deployment, because everybody works out on deployment, and you eat, I guess you kind of have a choice. You either eat strictly junk food or you eat strictly good food.
Right.
And, I had a good support system. My mom was, she'd send me boxes, like those flat rate boxes just stacked full of tuna packets. So I was just eating tuna. And I guess kind of like a prison meal is just tuna and ramen noodles chopped up together. I was handed that for 9 months, and I got up. I was like a real lean 191, and that was the first time I busted my height and weight. Was after that deployment, and then it's a great feeling. Since then, it was no looking back.
Okay. I was that actually, I'm glad you shared that. I was curious about when you left 5'11" and went to be a drill instructor. Did you, because I feel like, I could be wrong, I did grow up in Beaufort where you lived. Drill instructors, huge personalities, right? Scary, awesome hats, great voice, killer cadence. But usually, like, I think you're just wrecked from the job, that you're not like necessarily super muscular, right? So did you lose a bunch of weight when you became a drill instructor?
So when I went to drill, I showed up at drill instructor school thick, height, and the instructors had their eye on me from the time I checked in. Yeah. They're like, you ain't gonna survive here. And going, so I did my initial height and weight, and I was good. And then throughout the course, just because of the drill instructor school and the tempo, and you're walking back and forth to class and the PT, and you're screaming at the top of your lungs and running around, I got decently lean. And when I talk about getting lean, I don't think about pounds and light weight. You're able to see definition out of abs and stuff like that. But I didn't lift. Sure. I didn't lift in the sense that we do during that whole period of school. So that was 3 months. I got lean. I got faster. I got more Marine Corps at that time. So then before I checked in, right before I started working as a hat is when I got injured. So I was down for 9 months. And at that period, I was able to start lifting again. And I got, some size back onto me. So my first cycle, I was 230, and people knew who I was, I guess.
That's a scary drill instructor. 230. Oh my Lord. Just launching footlockers.
Yeah, and that was actually a problem. I remember a specific case. So when a kid has his footlocker unlocked, you kind of dump it out.
Just kind of
dump it out.
Real casual.
And I was new and, trying to make a statement, and that's what I would just go up and grab a handle and toss a footlocker. And I got grabbed up pretty quick by the first sergeant. He's like, yo, you're fucking, oh, excuse me. He's like, you're throwing footlockers at recruits. And I was like, no, I was just dumping it out. So there's that. And then learning to be in the right place so you're not impeding traffic took me a second. There's lots of recruits that bounced off me throughout the cycles.
I hate when they do that.
And you gotta like report that, right? Because you can't touch a recruit, and if there is any contact, you're like, you gotta go get it smoothed out right away before it turns into a negative allegation.
Yeah.
How much had it changed from when you went through boot camp until then when you were a hat?
So you know more as a hat than you do as a recruit.
Yeah.
So the perspective is drastically different. I don't think it changed a whole lot. I think your perspective's changed. So
Gotcha.
When you're a recruit, you're just dying. And when you're getting IT'd, it seems like you're getting IT'd for hours, but you're not. Time just moves slower when you're getting slayed and there's some guy screaming in your face. But there's very strict rules on how to treat a recruit and how to train a recruit. And even like the disciplinary things, like the incentive training where you see the cool videos of, drill instructors blasting them and they're doing the exercises. Like there's very strict rules on that. And, if you break them, you get potential to get in some trouble.
But okay, so it's relatively unchanged.
I believe so. The structure's changed a bit. So there was initially a 3-phase where it was like, first phase you got slayed, second phase you learn all your knowledge, third phase you learn a little bit of the Marine Corps stuff, the rifle range, basic warrior training, and the crucible. And then at the end of the crucible, you go up an anchor and you graduate. By the time I showed up, they had just implemented the 4 phases of recruit training, and all the 3 phases that I just talked about got squished forward a little bit, and they gave an extra 2 weeks after the Marines received their Eagle Globe and Anchor before graduation. And the intent behind that was to deliver a better product to the fleet as far as an actual Marine instead of sending recruits to the fleet. So they had, they started, addressing drill instructors by their rank. They'd call you gunner, sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant, whatever the case. And the drill instructors would treat them more like Marines. Instead of them flipping the lights on and making them get up and get ready, they'd give them kind of probably more like you all were treated in OCS, where you were, the leadership of the platoon was given a schedule and be ready at this time. We're going to chow, that kind of stuff. So I think that's where the change in recruit training is. I think the intensity and getting slayed has always kind of been the same. And it just seemed different when you're the one getting the heat versus giving it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, it is good. And there's 2 ways I want to go to this. The first one is, I don't know if you listened to last week's episode, but so the comm schools here at 29 Palms and
get a bunch of our guys out.
It's hilarious. Yeah, no. So I love, I'm sure you do. I love going to the Littleton Chow Hall, PFC Littleton Chow Hall. And it's hilarious because like you see a recruit and like, this way better than I do. But you see, he's not a recruit. He's a private or a PFC, and they see you. And like, I get it. I'm a major now. It's like, whatever. But like, they know they're supposed to do something, but they like stop dead in their it's like they can't walk and chew gum. And that's interesting you say that because I've been thinking like, man, are we setting these guys up for success? Because comm guys have been to MCT in between boot camp and showing up 29 Palms, right? Or should have.
Yeah, they would have been there in 30 days at.
And they're just like, they have no idea what to do. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a hat, never will be, but I almost think that 4th phase sounds like intelligent because like I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's still like, you can tell they don't know what to do, right?
Looking back to I'll like going back to my PFC days, I could not figure out the difference between a first sergeant and a master sergeant.
I still struggle to be honest.
Even if I clearly saw the diamond and the rifles, I could not. I'm like, I can't remember which one's which. So there's that, and then the officer. Like, to be honest with you, I don't think I even understood officer rank structure until I was a sergeant. I was just like,
that probably makes sense.
The only ones that you dealt with, you never. And when I came in the fleet, like, if you talk to an officer, like, you're done, right? And over the course, I think that's kind of chilled out, become a little bit more personable. And I know that as lieutenants, you are given a lot more heat to be intimate with the lowest rank. So that's changed over the course of the years. I think they just get scared. They're nervous. They don't know.
Yeah. No. And I'm not there to like blow up. I do feel like, and maybe this is just my time in the reserves as an active duty Marine in the reserves. And then now like as a reservist is like a lot of guys just don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like I have corporals now that are active. Like I'll come back from PT in the morning and they're like in camis leaving formation and they'll see me and they'll be like, "Good morning, sir." And like, I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation. I'm like, "Hey, stop." And they're like, "Oh, they think they're in trouble." I'm like, "Hey, so I'm in green on green. I can't salute you, but you're in a uniform." And like, it's just like instruction. Like they just don't know, but it is funny at the comm school. The other thread I wanted to pull with that is, so, you go through Parris Island and then you go through as a hat. So none of us were gunnery instructors, but the way that Fort Sill is set up, when you go through, you think your gunnery instructor and your fire sport instructor are the smartest guys, artillery gods on the planet. Like you're just like, how in the world does he know should hit data, did hit data? Like it's like unbelievable. And then like you stay around, and I didn't know this until I was a captain. It's like, oh, they literally like memorize the script.
Yeah.
It's a script. And then you see later as you've been in longer, you're like, oh, gunnery instructors doesn't always mean like good battery commander, right? It just means like they knew how to teach artillery. Did you have like a similar moment as you were going through as a hat, or is it different?
No, it's the same. And like with any group of individuals, there's, your bad apples, I guess you would say. But, and I tell this to Marines all the time when they're talking about, do I want to be a recruiter or do I want to be a drill instructor? And everybody's scared to be a drill instructor because the hours are horrible. It wrecks your body. It's hard work, but it's completely mindless. Like it's a minute by minute schedule. Anything you say to a recruit, you said to 100 recruits. The knowledge that you teach them, the ditties, it's the same ditty. I was screaming the same ditty at the end of 3 years as I did the first year. I would say one of the things that does require some finesse and skill is being able to teach drill. For one, you got to be decent at it. You got to sound good when you sing it, and you have to find a way to get them to understand and be excited about it. Right. Kind of like coaching, you would when you're coaching, you're lifting. Like you can tell somebody, you can read somebody the starting strength book front to back, but it's kind of a dry book. It's kind of not exciting. But you got to develop a manner of getting people excited to do what you want them to do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But it's simple. Like there's no thinking. I think being a recruiter would be drastically more mentally and emotionally challenging.
It sounds terrible.
Dude, it sounds awful, honestly.
That was like my favorite dynamic as a lieutenant with the staff and COs is you had like the recruiter staff and COs and then like the drill instructor staff and COs, and they would just always go at each other. I always loved hearing that.
I'll tell you what,
if I wanted something shady done, I would go to a recruiter staff and CO.
I won't disclose names or stories, but if a recruiter works in a big city, he knows some shady stuff.
Oh man, that's funny. What else you guys got for him? I could go on.
Grant kind of alluded to it a little earlier, and you actually touched on it also, that like you had a bet with a leg break, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
What was one, talk about that, and then like the road back from that, because then, I mean, I think people get little small injuries and they don't think they'll ever be back in the gym hitting the weights they are gonna, and then if you want to just share your story and then kind of now where you're at present day with your lifting.
Yeah. So in 2017, I think the fall time, like October, I wrecked a motorcycle and shattered my femur. And that was pretty rough. I had to get it for more. It was like blown apart, shattered. It wasn't just a
Oh,
break.
geez.
Grant probably got the X-rays pictures.
I did.
It was nasty. So they put the repair was a femoral nail, and what that is, they cut you open. They take a drill and drill out the center of the bone, and like he's like pounding a nail through a rod through your leg.
Oh my God.
And put the femoral nail in there. So that was one part of the injury. Then during the recovery process, I got compartment syndrome, which for the listeners, or if anybody doesn't know, fluid was going in, but it wasn't going out. So my right leg was swollen to the size of both my legs together. And luckily, one of the nurses was really concerned about that throughout my recovery, and she caught it, and she's like, yo, he's got to go now. And that was excruciatingly more painful than anything I remember prior to it, probably because I was on painkillers. So they rushed me in, did emergency surgery. They did a fasciotomy, which is, if you think of your muscles encased like a hot dog, in a fascia. So they had to slice that open to let everything, relieve the pressure and all that. And then they put a drain on the other side. So it had like a vacuum that was sucking fluid out for a few days. They took a skin graft off my thigh and covered up that wound on where they did the fasciotomy. So once that was all said and done, I think total, I was in the hospital for probably at least a month. Because after the recovery of the surgery, then they moved me into like the physical therapy area, and they did, I had to do physical therapy and stuff until I was capable of functioning on my own. It wasn't so much getting me strong or back into shape, just to the point where I could, go to the bathroom and take a shower.
Walk.
Yeah. Which was the interesting thing with that fracture. Like that was one of the priorities, is putting weight on it to a bearable, because
like your priority or from the doctor?
The doctor.
Like they wanted
the doctor wanted me to put weight on it.
That's good.
Because as we know, a load causes bone density, and that was the idea, is to grow a strong bone around the repair. Then there's a whole bunch of stuff between me and my command, because I never started working, and they just wanted a goods of service. They would have done a good of service transfer and said, he got injured, he's got to go, and send me back to the fleet. But I told him I wanted to work, so I had a personal conversation with my battalion commander, and kind of was like, hey, just being transparent, I never wanted to be here. I finished drill instructor school, and I'm super motivated to train recruits. And he said, all right, a standard quota. So when you're a hat, you work cycles, and usually in between your cycles, you get a quota, which is the period of time where you go be the knowledge, you teach in the classes, or you go to the pool, you're an instructor, or you do martial arts instructing, something away from the recruits. You're still with recruits, but you're not a hat.
Right, sure.
And the normal quota is 6 to 9 months. So he's like, I'll let you take your quota, and if you can run a PFT in 9 months, I'll let you stay. So that started my clock as far as recovery.
What'd you run? I'm just curious. Not like there's no judgment here, but I mean I
got first class.
You get that.
I don't remember what the score was.
Okay.
I got first class.
Sure. Okay.
That's
Okay.
oh my gosh.
Was that like not to be dramatic and mental,
he even told
was
me,
that like a dark? Was that like a dark time? Was it was it difficult mentally?
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah.
It sounds like it. That's why I asked. But yeah.
So the worst part was before I actually went back to work. I lived in a small apartment by myself. My wife, at the time we were dating, she would come over and help me. But it was I just laid in bed for weeks.
Yeah.
So it was very depressing, sad. The physical therapy was very uncomfortable, which I will probably touch on that when we get to training. But it was very painful. a lot of that was.
So let's just get to that now. So you're doing physical therapy. Your now wife's like helping you out. Are you? And I remember you texting me videos and asking me questions.
Yeah.
I think I was on Starting Strengths forum, like asking Ripito, stuff about it. Like, did you? It's like you crashed a motorcycle. You go through this. You have the whole career side of, hey, am I going to be able to keep this job? And then at some point you started squatting, and I can picture the video like you sent me in your apartment of like you air squatting to parallel. Like, was it? I don't know. I mean, and for context for the listeners, like this is a guy that like had a 405 squat, for a couple of reps, 5 now, whatever. But like you were strong then. Was it 6 months before you could squat 225? Was it?
I'd have to.
I mean, to just broad stroke it.
I should have kind of done some research because I got all the videos and pictures saved. So first off, I don't want to discredit. I know we kind of poke fun at like physical therapists and the stuff that they do, and they had me doing some weird things, but I do want to credit them because a lot of the stuff that they did do may not have been focused on strength like we did, but the range of motion things that they did were good. Like I had these two physical therapists, and they were always laughing and joking around, but I hated them because they would take my knee. I'd lay on my stomach and they would just try to push my foot to my butt. And there was so much scar tissue and swelling in the knee. It's just excruciating. And then when I have it straight, they'd push it down, just trying to like break everything up in there. And I do think that is important, and it did help as far as in that aspect. And some of the balance and stuff that we're not a huge fan of, I think it is important to kind of gain, to gain stability. And I do credit, that to a good recovery. But definitely squatting and that was a priority, and it definitely helped. And I think that, and this is just my thought process, is being strong prior to the injury probably, one, made that break not as bad as it could have been. Or maybe more bones broken, and two, it'll help me get back functioning again quicker because I had, some muscle there just needed to wake back up. I'd say probably 6 months before I was squatting like a real weight. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Dang,
that's great. No, that's great. Oh man. Okay. So then, you kind of recover from that. You finish your hat tour successful. We should talk about Beaufort for a minute. Where'd you live? I mean, you don't have to you don't have to dox yourself.
So I lived on Ladies Island, and I had a blast. And this, I keep telling them, is that
where the monkeys are?
No, the monkeys are out where I live. They're not, I mean, yeah.
I can hear island in Carolina and just assume there's monkeys on it.
I think there's a lot of little islands right there because of how the intercoastal goes. And that was one thing I got into in my off time was fishing. I did a lot of the inshore stuff.
We're big fishing guys. We talking fly fishing. We talking spin reels.
I was on a boat, so I was using, bait casters or spinning.
Real fishing.
Spinning rod. A lot of soft plastics.
My guy.
I knew you guys would be friends.
Yeah, a lot of soft plastic, a little bit of hard baits, but not a whole lot.
Little Texas rig.
Yeah. I was more like a jig head with like a curly tail on it or something.
Oh, okay.
Like the Gulf saltwater series, they're kind of scented and slimy. The redfish eat them up.
So you were getting the reds with the little. That's what you were fishing. That's what you were into.
Yeah, fishing redfish, trout, flounder, sheep's head, all the inshore stuff.
What's the limit out there on reds?
To keep, I think it was 2.
That's what it is here.
I didn't do a whole lot of keeping them. I was keeping more of the sheep's head.
They're a great eat.
Yeah. So they're funky fish. They got like these old people chompers on
human
them.
teeth. Yeah.
And they're hard to catch because their jaw is so bony and solid. It's got to be a perfect hook set.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Were you catching those out of the boat, or were you so I'm from, you should know Beaufort pretty well. So I'm from the other side. If you are headed towards Charleston, just before you get to Gardens Corner. There's the Whale Branch River. Like you take Highway 21 to 17. Like I'm from that side of town, and Sheephead is like where all the like older black
island, south of Paris.
So you go Ladies Island, then you go like downtown Beaufort. Yep, Ladies Island's north. Then you go downtown Beaufort, and then let's skip Port Royal. You go out towards like Walmart, Cross Creek, like where all that stuff is, and then you hit 21. Like past the car dealerships. But like everyone always fished there, like pier fishing for sheephead.
Yeah. So they do like the structure. And even though I was on a boat, I would end up in that kind of area, like around bridge pilings or dock pilings. You know, finding some kind of structure because they're probably similar to bass fishing. Well, I guess redfish, all those intercoastal fish are kind of the same way, but the pier fishing for the sheep's head eat crustaceans, so they'll chew on the barnacles off the off bridge pilings and stuff. So that's when you're talking about people, you know, shore fishing, they're probably just dropping down by, you know, bridge pilings or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on a side note, and I feel like this is interesting with you, and like I feel like you and I are a little bit the same in this. You kind of like adapt to whatever culture you're in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I like because like when you were in California, you were all about surfing.
Yeah.
I mean, so was I. And to be fair, I'm terrible at it, but like I definitely tried a bunch. And then like you go to South, like you're from North Carolina originally?
I grew up and here's the kicker to it is I grew up in South Florida. So all of that.
Oh, okay.
South Florida. Yeah. You know, I grew up, we were going to the beach, but the waves aren't nothing like the West Coast, but I kind of got into surfing in as a kid. We did, you know, me and my family did a lot of fishing and stuff like that. So I guess, yeah, like you said, anywhere I go, I can kind of adapt to the things that I like.
Yeah. And it's also kind of fun to like figure out the new, like whatever's the culture there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a side note.
I regret that I never went snowboarding out in California.
Yeah, I regret that as well and feel like, did you skateboard at all as a kid?
I did as a kid.
I did too. Like I wouldn't say I was good by like any Tony Hawk measure, but like I could land a kickflip, right? Like I was like whatever. And I've tried skiing twice in my life and hated it. And I was like, I think the way to go would have been snowboarding. Yeah. I also regret that we didn't fly fish out here in California because there's some really good spots.
Yeah. I'm interested in it, and I probably once I retire and get another boat, I might, you know, try some of the fly fishing because that's a lot of good of the inshore stuff. And right here down in Jacksonville, even there's some good spots, you know. And that's probably something that if Trey ever, you know, finds them, or no, you're the fly fisher, but you'll enjoy it too. But getting the tailing redfish, like sight fishing the tailing redfish up on the
I've
grass
watched videos
flats,
of that.
and you just see their little tails sticking out of the water, and you're sight fishing to them. It's a real surreal kind of thing.
I'm kind of embarrassed that I got into fishing later because now, like being from Beaufort, like I flounder fished as a kid, but that was it. And like now that I know that people like travel there to sight fish like redfish and like study the tides, because like I know all the tides from like the shrimp and the crabs. I just never got into that, but no, it looks pretty cool. How do you like Greensboro?
I don't spend much time here.
Okay. I think that tells us all we need to know.
It's nothing bad about the area. I just like if I got time off, I'm gonna go home and spend it with my family.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think these guys can hop in. So Trey just had, as you listen to this back, he just had his had his first baby, but his third daughter because he adopted twins. So he's been in it, and it is kind of. I guess my question to you would be, you know, my daughter is 4 months now, but I had her like later from that intense time in the Marine Corps. I don't know. It just makes you think about everything differently. Yeah, I don't know. I guess what are your thoughts of like being a dad, like in the Corps, and like you have your job, you're in Greensboro, you got to get to 20 years, like you got to retire, obviously, like set your kids up for success. But like, Have you like thought about that? Like now you're like mid to what are you? 36, 35, 37. So like, have you like thought about?
Young man, as a young man.
Yeah, as a young man, it is weird now. Like to me, and I came in the Marine Corps 3 years after college, but like now that like my gunnies are like the same age or younger, or like my first sergeant's younger, it is really weird because you're just like, wait, you're supposed to know everything about life. Why are you looking at me? Like you're my senior enlisted. I don't know. Have you like views changed on like family and like the Corps? That's a very broad question.
Yeah.
Take it wherever you want.
No, I get where I understand where you're going with it. It is hard. As a young, it's hard. The whole family concept in the military, the Marine Corps, is difficult as it is. No matter when you have your kids, it's definitely a struggle for young Marines. And I think when we're young, we don't have the maturity to realize what's really important, the family. When you're running around as a young sergeant and stuff, like that's the job, like you got to do it, and you miss out on a lot. And even still now, unfortunately, I'm going to be working up here for the next 3 years, maybe less. And I'm missing so much, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And it is, and it's difficult too, because I mean, kids are expensive as it is, but now we got 2 households, because we chose not to. I have 3 kids that live with their mom in Georgia, and then I have 3 stepchildren that live with me in Jacksonville, and a 4-year-old daughter that I had with my wife. So that's a total of 7.
Man.
Yeah. But the kids that are living with me, they're all so involved in things that like my oldest daughter is about to graduate. She's a senior. Our middle one just started high school. And the social life for young women is like very important coming up,
Sweet.
And stability and things like that. The 12-year-old, he's on a D1 soccer team, a higher level, not like D1 in college.
Like a club.
Yeah, in a soccer club.
Yeah.
But they're doing really well, and he's playing because he's a larger kid. He's playing, 2 ages up.
Jeez.
And he's got a good coach and is real good environment there. And then my wife's job, that's going to be our future. Didn't want to move that. So we decided to, that it's probably best just to do the Geo Bachelor thing.
Yeah. It's gotta be tough.
Yeah.
Like I'm like quasi doing it. I got the activation orders. I brought my wife back out to California, but she's 2.5 hours away. And I mean, I'm in SLT, not me, my buddy, but he's in SLT right now. And so it's like, you can't leave. And I have like thought so many times over the last, 6 weeks, like I cannot believe people do this their whole careers. Like it's crazy. It's a crazy ask. Because it's weird, and like you have days where it's like, everything's like good. And then it's like, the cats took a dump on the living room floor, and you're just like, man, if I was home, I'd clean up that cat crap so quick and like it wouldn't be an issue, but I'm not home. And so now there's like a screaming baby or, whatever it is. It's weird.
Yeah. And it's frustrating at this level too. Being like, they expect you to just want to do that. And like, it's like, it's the expectation. They're like, right before I got promoted to first sergeant, well, when I got selected, I kind of went to sergeant major and other first sergeants and talked about how I'm going to address the monitor to try to get a location that I wanted. And the majority of the answer is, you chose to be a first sergeant. You just got to be ready to go anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, that's not how I work. I got a family that I care about, and then I got 2 more years. The Marine Corps has only got me for 2 more years. Like, these people depend on me for the rest of their life. And I know, and you can see how it affects kids. Like, my 4-year-old's having she has a hard time right now. Then I come home for the weekend and we try to jam as much fun and playtime as we can in there. And then I got to leave. And she's like, oh, man, you got to leave tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I'll be back in a week.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like
we can't discount the
retention.
spouses either. I got to put that in there. The sacrifice that my wife, puts forth for this and all the, I don't even know how she does it. She's working full-time job, soccer practice, picking up the kids from school, daycare, like the whole deal. Like, hats off to the wives.
Seriously. What were we going to say, Trey?
Man, I was listening to like kind of on that note, I was listening to like an interview with like a Royal Marine, and those guys are with their like the same unit like the whole career almost. And so like that retention is so long. And like, I'm not saying like the Marine Corps, it operates differently. Like you need new blood coming in, people leaving, cycling in and out. But at some level, I feel like if they would take that more into consideration, that I feel like the retention would be much higher, and you would have, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was kind of talking to nobody.
So, and that's something interesting about the reserves is there's a gunnery sergeant in the reserves that's been in the same company for 17 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Now, granted, they're a little different scenario, but I've always wondered that, like why they don't do that. Because there's plenty, I can assure you, there's plenty of people that want to stay in California. And there's plenty of people that want to stay on Camp Lejeune. And, Hawaii, like you can find the people that want to stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like maybe you rotate from like, all right, you're in 110 this year. And then, okay, like you get orders and you go to 210. So like you're moving around units. Like, again, you probably run into a lot of same people, but it's like.
And just think about an organization. This is what always confused me. Yeah, and I really saw it, as you see it as in the leadership positions, the platoon sergeants, the battery gunnies, the lieutenants, the captains and stuff. You got 3 years to get things right. And then you move.
And then you leave.
And then somebody else comes in and changes everything. And they take 3 years to get it right. And it's just like, maybe
that first
6 years
is you just working to fix all the stuff or like identify what's all broken. And then you get a year to work on it. And then a year where it's okay. Things are like clicking. Oh yeah. Now I'm out the door.
Yeah.
It is really interesting. And the reserves is a good point. And I'm actually kind of personally glad. I hope you enjoy where you're at, but that like you're getting a little taste of it. Cause there's some things that are interesting of like, nope. Like you serve the needs of the Corps, but it is also like my motor T chief is selected for gunny, and he's been in golf battery for I think 14 years, right? And so I was like putting this thing up to the 4th Marine Dimension. I was like, let's frock this guy, and they're like, well, why? Like he doesn't need to be frocked. He's just going on a BLT, and I'm like, because he's like the grand old man of the battery. And his family has supported him. And like, yes, he loves the Marines of the battery, but how much cooler would it be for his family to like see him get promoted to gunny? And I lost. Yeah. He didn't get promoted. But no, it is interesting because it is cool. Like some of the guys that stay with the unit for a long time. And it's interesting. And the longer you're at comm company, you'll probably see like, I had a very bad view of the reserves as an active duty Marine. And then as you like, I think most of it's just like getting older and more senior in rank, and you start to like zoom out and you realize like, oh, we need all of this. Right. And it is different. And there's frustrating elements, but no, some of the continuity that happens in the reserves is super cool. Like I checked in I&I duty in March of 16, and a PFC and a gun is now Staff Sergeant Select, like senior section chief in the battery that I'm deploying with now. It's like, whoa, like that's pretty cool, right? And he's never, so it's interesting. Okay, I got a question. Answer it as much as you want. If it's too whatever, don't. But like, you are a meat eater, 0811, right? We did love First Sergeant Major Bimbo, right? Like we had some great examples, but like pinning on diamond, is it harder? Like, so like when you're a a staff sergeant, section chief, or a platoon sergeant, and you make gunny, like in the artillery community, like you're the battery gunny now. Like,
Yeah.
like I feel, and you can speak to it more than me. Like that is like, holy cow, I'm the freaking guy. Diamond equally important, but like, is it a harder transition? Is it different? Like, is it hard for you to like remove yourself from the intricacies of the MOS and just focus on the bigger picture? I've had a lot of first sergeants in my time, but I've never had one that was a buddy of mine that I could ask, like, was it weird? Like, is it like, do you like it? Is it, I don't know. Like, what's it like transitioning from combat arms to first sergeant?
I think it's kind of individual basis. I did a lot of first sergeant things. We were gapped for a while, and I handled all the first sergeant stuff as well as. So when I did get promoted, I wasn't completely lost. And I did spend some time in 210 as a first sergeant, like an actual first sergeant, before I PCS'd. And I made it very clear that I am not a battery gunny, and I just watched. And of course, if I were to see something that I know was unsafe or wrong, I would have, prevented injury and stepped in that case. But as far as like the planning and how, the gunny kept track of his maintenance and things like that, I just watch, and I would offer some guidance here and there. But I think it's a personal thing. Some guys probably couldn't let it go. And they'd have a hard time. Here in Com Company, I have no problem because I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. They don't know what they're talking about either.
Full moon. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And the job, I dedicated so much to learning how to be an artilleryman.
Yeah.
That maybe I didn't pay enough attention to some other things. And one of the most frustrating things for me is there's so many orders, there's so many MAR admins, there's so many this. And because I'm a first sergeant, everybody thinks I know it all. And it's a lot of, and I tell the Marines straight up, I'm like, I'm not the guy that has all the answers. Like I don't have the 10-pound bucket brain, but I know how to find some stuff. So it's a lot of that. That's another thing that is slightly frustrating about the organization is trying to find things in
so
orders.
difficult.
And I don't know who came up with writing a MAR admin in all capital letters all mushed together.
It's the best. Why?
I'm not the smartest.
Didn't that try to get changed at one point? And they were like, no, we got to change it back. It's got to be all caps.
It has to be all caps.
It has to be all
so
caps.
frustrating to read MAR admins. And then everything's got 12 references. So like I'm looking for the answer, and the sentence in the order says the answer to your question is in reference K. So now I got to go read all of reference K. And they said the answer to your last question, here's half of the answer. The other half of the answer is in reference J. So now I got to go find that reference. And it's frustrating, but
Okay. So
You got time in
survive.
ChatGPT?
I'm not going to
ChatGPT
disclose
saved
how
my
much I
life.
use ChatGPT.
It's a great tool.
Hey,
It seriously is very helpful.
I'm not saying that all my Marines don't get a good fit rep shakedown, but definitely have ChatGPT help that out.
ChatGPT for like awards writing and stuff at least gets you like an 80%, and then you just go in there and put your little flavor in it.
And that stuff blows my mind. It really does. And actually, I had a question for you, Grant, about that.
Oh,
So your Grant bots just
Grant bot.
goes off, right? How do you see the longevity of like your face-to-face personal coaching continuing? Because I'm not trying to hate on any of your coaches or anything.
no,
And I love
it.
the feedback when I put something in the Slack, but GrantBot just eats it up quicker than the coaches do. And then messing around with just regular ChatGPT, like I just put some questions in there. I'm like, hey, my squat's this. I want it to be this. How do I do that? and it writes me a whole program. And knowing the things that I've learned through you and the Strength Co and Starting Strength, I'm like, this all lines up.
Yeah. Are you talking about when you talk to Grandpa, or just
no, I'm
like
saying, how is your coaching going to compete with AI?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. So one of the things we've learned in coaching, and like you hit it on it earlier, is like, and it's probably like your physical therapist, right? Like, so, and I don't want people to think that I hate physical therapists. I don't. What I hate is when people get told they can't do anything when there's not a real answer for it, right? But so like your physical therapist, based off the story you told, probably made you feel like you can recover. And that's a whole level of like mental stuff happening that you probably didn't realize it was happening. But the fact that he was like, hey, you can, like, I'm going to get you to where you recover. It doesn't, I don't care if what he's telling you to do worked or not. Like, you believed you can recover, which is a big part. It's the same thing in coaching. So I say all that to say, in the gym or even in our online coaching, like live platforms, a lot of people, man, I can only say knees out so many times. Right. I can teach you the Valsalva so many times. And like, if you don't figure this out, like, you're an idiot. Like, I'm going to teach you that. But people still pay us because we make the like experience better. But what I've learned over time, and I was hard headed about this when I first opened my gym, I was like, everyone will pay $300+ a month to get like personal training. But what I realized is like, there's a ton of people out there that will never pay that, but do want some feedback. So is chat, or is Grantbot, as we call them in Slack, better than some of my coaches? I would say no, if they're personal, like if they're getting in-person coaching. But yes, if it's a dude that's like, hey, my right shoulder hurts right now, I'm in the gym right now, and I want an answer, should I bench 225 or not? Like, Grantbot's going to spin an answer. And to be fair, we have written a lot of code over him. So we use ChatGPT 4, we use Python and stuff. And like, we've written a lot of stuff into him to be like, hey, if someone says this, this is sort of the answer. And is it the best as like a real coach, like talking to you and learning? No, but man, it's pretty close. Yeah. And yeah, so I don't know what I think the answer is, and I've learned this the hard way, the coaching that we provide is people that want human interaction. They want to know, like what you and I, when we used to live together, like they want that experience. And that's just different than like, you're a paying member. You're just like, hey, every now and then when I squat really heavy, I want to drop this in. And what I always laugh at, especially now that like I'm not on there as much as I used to be because I'm busy leading a battery, is like someone will post a squat and Grandpa will answer. And then basically the starting strength coach comes in trail, and not like, cause I've told them to do this, but I'm like, oh, you said the same thing Grandpa did.
Yeah.
So
it was interesting the other day. I think Brad, he's like the main guy. He would make a comment, and then Grandpa would break his comment down. And then he made another comment, and Grandpa would break it down again. And they were just like, it was funny.
No, it was funny. No, when you texted me the other day, it was like, Grandpa's out of control. But no, it is smart. And we weren't going to leave it called Grandpa. That was like a joke. And then we just left it. But yeah, no, it's tough to like figure out what that future is. But I just think it's cool. What I like about the Slack channel is everyone that's in the Slack channel is like a pretty serious lifter. And if they're not, they kind of leave right away. And like the people that are there are like dealing with real stuff. Okay. So we got to get into like some of the things that we always get into. But before we do that, you're year 18, you live in Greensboro, North Carolina. You got 7 kids all around the East Coast. Are you hitting 20 and like dropping? Are you going to get selected for Sergeant Major and like, I got to get high 2? Have you thought through this?
It'd take a miracle for me to stick around any longer.
Okay. So you're kind of viewing like, so 20 is, you said you're at 18. 20 is like what month, what year?
So August
of 27?
26.
26.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're like less than 24 months.
So yeah.
Okay.
I'm within my 18-month window.
And what are you thinking? That's why the appendix J is in your pocket. I get it. You're a first sergeant. What are you thinking? Like, you going to go for a corporate job? You going to like ride GI Bill disability and like whatever? Like, have you thought like you gonna get into coaching? Like, I feel like you could go past the starting strength certification right now.
So, I haven't put extraordinarily serious thought into it yet. What I'm gonna do, it really depends on what that disability looks like.
I mean, broken bone.
Well, but I mean, that's once you break down the like how the whole thing works, that's really not going to get me that much.
It's really complicated, isn't it?
It is like I can get a bunch of like residual stuff, like the knee's going to be jacked, and I think I got some hip problems. I honestly, and I'd asked the doctor this question, but I don't know. How do we know the bone is straight? He says it's perfect, but I feel like my right foot like pokes out to the right. Anyways, I might get some residual stuff, but like just one broken bone it's not gonna be the gravy train. I got some back stuff, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But that's the long way around.
Let me actually pause real quick because this is interesting. You've done 3 or 4 combat deployments.
I did Iraq, Afghanistan. 3 combat,
so 3.
And then a couple UDPs.
Okay, so 3 combat deployments. You're a first sergeant at a minimum, maybe a sergeant major when you get out. You leave at 20 years. Does Matthew Tomaszewski feel like fulfilled? Or are you like, hey, now there's like a second chapter of my life that I don't even know what it is that what I want to open? Or is it like, hey, for 20 years, I haven't been able to spend any time with my kids now? Like, and I'm asking like for myself too, like, what are you kind of thinking?
I think it's like making it in the world. Like I just want to live comfortably. I'm not looking for a millionaire. I don't want to run a huge corporate company, anything like that. I want to be well off enough to enjoy life, spend it with my family.
Yeah.
Okay. And lucky for me, my wife's doing really well.
That's great. Sounds like
sugar mama for the win, baby.
Yeah. She got a sister. Right. I know some single Marines that are searching for their purpose.
I don't think any of them are available.
Probably not. Yeah. Let's see. Jeff, you want to take him down the one track and Trey will take him down the other one?
Okay, yeah, I think we can get a good. This could be a good one.
This should be pretty easy, actually. Yeah,
I mean, this should be just like doing your job.
I mean, pull out the campaign cover. Mentally put that thing on. Just think about a recruit doing something dumb, touching their face, laughing because you said some off the wall stuff to another recruit that was doing something dumb, and you just want to lock them on real quick. You're just going to give them the okay.
Yeah.
I bet I
can't get too loud because I got neighbors.
Okay.
It's more of the intensity of it.
Yeah.
It's not
okay, knucklehead. That's kind of
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I like the knucklehead. That's good.
I like the knucklehead. Yeah. So I do have to ask this before we go into our sponsors. I don't actually know when you started listening to this podcast. Obviously, we've kept in touch over the years. But like, did you kind of get like the okay? Like, did you? I
know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't know when it was an okay podcast. I thought it was more like Average Joe's okay. It's okay podcast.
Okay.
But then.
Well, it's that too. Yeah.
But then when I saw, once it started going, I was like, yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's hard to explain. There's a lot of civilian minds out there that won't get it. Trey, why don't you take them through the next part?
So you have listened to the podcast once or twice. Okay. So you kind of know our fearless sponsor, the one and only.
That's a big shoes to fill.
That's not really, dude. That bar is so low. Who is the New Jersey?
Herbert.
Yeah. That's so. If you listen to Herbert, we can play that. Just start from the bottom. And give Herbert a hard time. Yeah, so usually what we do, man, is we just have our sponsor, BW Tax, and you have the floor to give the shortest or longest ad read that you want. We got nothing but time on our hands. But we'll give you...
Do you need sound bites from us, or are you good?
Nah, I think I got the basics.
Ooh. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Let it rip. I love it.
We don't say anything, man. Yeah, so you know what's up. We don't have to explain anything, and I'll just give you a 3, 2, 1 action, and then you just give us a little ad read for BW Tax LLC. 3, 2, 1.
But let me tell you about my buddy BW Tax, down south in Greensville, South Carolina. But he's got the knowledge and the capability to take care of you anywhere within the nation. He's a warm body who answers the phone when you call. There's no bots or answering services you got to worry about. Some say that he knows all the loopholes through the maze that is income taxes. And if you call BW, he'll make sure to get you taken care of, whether it's your personal income taxes, a small business, or a large business. Go ahead and check out bwtaxllc.com, and he'll take care of you.
Dadgum.
From
the heart.
Let's go.
That was good.
Got to use some phrases from some past guests.
Yeah, no, it was excellent.
That's so good.
Matthew, I say one, great to see you. Two, I know it's late there, but I know the Marine in you was like, oh, the major's in the middle of SLTE, probably doesn't have a lot of time to spare. So I appreciate it. We're glad to have you on.
Thanks
for listening. I do want to leave one thing. I may have seen some like Tomaszewski orders coming through soon or recently. Are you building out your home gym?
Oh, well, actually, I'm building out my work gym.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So we're on a NRC, which is Naval Recruiting Center.
In the Marine Corps, we just call that an HTC, Home Training Center.
So
but I get
at our
it.
HTC,
I'm a reservist.
they have a gym that they're so proud of. But there's not one complete set of weights, and on top of that, they're not even the same continent of weights. There's a lot of kilos and a lot of pounds. And they don't mix together. And they didn't have a single squat rack. So I packed up my stuff from home and brought it up here.
Damn.
And I was squatting one day and I realized I was just curious about the bar that I was using. So I looked it up on Amazon where I bought it during COVID. It was all I could find. And it said max weight 300 pounds. And I was like, I'm sure this isn't going to break, but it's trash. It's time to go. So I ordered some stuff for the for the HTC.
No, we appreciate that. I'm just sad. Please send. You sent me the photo of the bar, but I saw some plate orders come in, and you have a last name that's memorable. But it is sad. It was like when I was at Regiment, their gym was trash, and I just said, "Hey, I happen to own this company. I won't give it to you, but I'll give it to you at cost, like whatever it costs me to make it. Like I'll do that." And someone was like, "That's a conflict of interest." And I was like, "I literally have no interest in this.
I'm making no money."
Zero
The other
interest.
thing, I don't mean to drag this on, but the other thing is, we're not allowed to have certain equipment because in order to purchase certain equipment, there has to be a full-time trained individual on staff. And if you go to the gym in Camp Lejeune, you have some 16, 17-year-old kid sitting behind the desk. And I'm like, what are you supervising? Like, I'm not a coach by any means, but I kind of know what I'm doing. And I could probably help out Marines train as well. But yeah, we can't purchase.
Let's get Doge in
we
there.
can't purchase squat racks, benches. We can't even purchase a barbell.
It's crazy. We're working on it. We are trying. And I say we, I mean the team while I'm gone or my buddy's gone, trying to get in more. The only place we've gotten in well is the Air Force. We've built out about 15 Air Force gyms. They're a little more liberal with their spending. But I'm hoping
money.
Doge gets in there and we'll see. It's a whole other thing. But hey, man, thanks for joining us. Is there any place like they can find you lifting? Like, no? Okay. Just join on
the Slack
and talk to you. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Brain.mil. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. I got your address. You just need to text me your shirt size. We gotta send you a little gift for coming on the pod. We appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Later, man.
We'll
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yep. Semper Fi.
Good dude.
Good dude.
Definitely good dude.
I remember his face, basically. So I remember the sergeant.
I mean, I didn't want to tell him this with my gold oak leaf staring him in the face, but like one of the most impactful sergeants in terms of like, hey, sir, this is how you need to be an officer. Like, good dude. Good dude. And it is fun with the Marine Corps. So like when he broke his leg, I meant to ask him if he still rides a motorcycle, and I hope the answer is no. But when he broke his leg, I don't know that I've ever used my parents for anything in the Marine Corps, like ever. Like I've never been like, come to my promotion, come to this thing. Like I've never used them, but I did call them and was like, go visit this guy and mom, make him a pound cake. And I have a selfie of them like over his hospital bed because
that's awesome.
That was a rough time. Yeah, so it was cool.
Yeah.
We're pretty late into the podcast. We have talked about BW Tax. He is our sponsor, keeps the lights on. Trey's got 3 kids, which is incredible. Jeff's here from Utah, being a Mormon. We need to talk about the Super Bowl because we have to. But if you don't have the helmet you want, go to Mr. Helmet. I'll give you a little inside baseball. The Marine Corps helmets are off the site now. If you wanted the Marine Corps helmet,
wow,
can't get it anymore.
Wow.
There's a guy that's a president named Donald, and there's like tariffs and stuff, and those mini helmets are not available anymore.
Oh, dang.
So that happened just like that. But if your team,
thanks a lot, Obama.
Yeah, thanks, Obama. If your team, you don't have your team's helmet, there's a good opportunity for you to go get one now. So go over to MrHelmet.com. Just kidding. Don't do that. That's not his website. Click the link in the show notes. Go over to Green Gridiron or Gridiron Green. I can't remember. And go buy yourself a helmet. I think we should like keep this on like a 6-7 minute wrap up. Did you guys watch the Super Bowl?
Loosely. Man, I was like, lame answers. I watch it for the commercials, right? And the Dunkings commercial was fantastic. I could have turned it off after that and been completely content.
Jeff, did you watch?
No, I was working and it was like
hard or hardly working?
Hardly working, really. But because honestly, like once the game starts, like the store got dead. And then I was checking the score, got home probably, I think, right at halftime. And I was like, I don't think I need to. I'll turn it on if it gets within a touchdown. And then it never did. So I never turned it on.
It was
it was pretty boring. We took the Stefano out to a casino in Trinidad Palms just because the spots are limited here. And I was like, they'll have a lot of TVs. And the Fago picked it. That's kosher for those that don't know.
Fun and games.
Say what it is. You already gave it up. Sorry. Just like PJ will never know what bingo is. The Fago picked the casino, and it was actually like a great pick because they did have a lot of TVs, and I had to like convince them to turn the sound onto the game, which I thought was strange because there's definitely a bunch of people there watching the game. And then I'm not going to rant about the halftime show, but I was like, this game sucks. The halftime show will be great. And then like, this is before now everyone has complained about it. But I was like, this halftime show sucks.
I could have told you as soon as Kendrick Lamar was announced that Grant would not be a fan of the Kendrick Lamar halftime show.
I don't think that's fair. I like Sit Down, Be Humble. I like They Not Like Us. Like, I don't think he's a bad rapper. Rappers have been known to do good halftimes. It was just boring.
He's not really much like a showman, right? Like he's a great rapper, but he doesn't necessarily put on like crazy shows, right? I don't know.
Like we needed a big jumping guy.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
they
we
should
needed
have had the big
Brooks.
jumping guy.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. I was disappointed.
Apparently that whole halftime show was just making fun of who's his beef with. Drake,
yeah, which apparently is like Epstein Island and all kind of stuff. Which like, I'm just cool. I'm a surface level user, and I'm like, I want to be entertained, and I'm not entertained. Yeah. I tried to sit down, but I couldn't be humble.
No, as far as that game goes, man, I was super impressed with that Eagles defense.
Yeah, I've never lied to Marines, but I definitely did the night before the Super Bowl because I cut the guys loose. I'm like, we're from Fort Dix. Like, we're Jersey. I'm saying we're because we're one. And I'm like, go birds.
Fly,
and they're
Eagles,
like,
fly.
"Arrgh!" And I'm like, I hate the birds. But I might hate the Chiefs more. I didn't want them to three-peat. I didn't want the Mahomes GOAT conversation with Brady to come up. So I was happy with the outcome.
Oh, your boy called the game, though.
And did terrible, apparently.
Yeah, he didn't do
He's
great.
not a great commentator.
He doesn't know when commercial breaks are coming.
Hey,
He just kinda
good
keeps
guy,
talking.
better at playing football.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
Which is okay. It's okay.
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 Hey, good
Yeah.
guest, right? Good dude.
Great guest.
Yeah.
Really good.
Great guest.
Really good
better
dude.
at first sergeanting.
Mm.
Trey, at this time.
This time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Episode 05.
Niner.
Dang. This has been episode 059 of the
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
I'd like to thank
Freaking
That's-
okay.
Hey, at ease.
So, okay.
Hey, as you were.
Okay, as I was. Okay.
I'd like to thank our guest, First Sergeant. I'll say Ski. How do you pronounce it?
Tomaszewski. Ski word.
Tomaszewski,
Yeah.
First Sergeant Ski, man. Great guy. Good talk, good convo, good dude. Better at marining. I'd like to thank our sponsor, as always, BW Tax. If you notice, all of our lights are on.
Oh yeah. Still.
Yep, verified. Yeah, I'd like to thank BW for that. I'd like to thank our other Gridiron Green sponsor, One Helmet. Matt, except small helmets. Sorry, you're out of luck.
Sorry.
China.
China.
Get the big helmet.
500% tariffs.
If you look at the link below, you will see a link to the Slack. Use code OK. Talk to us there. Got any questions about lifting? Ask them there. Got any questions about life? Ask them there. Want to be silly? Got a joke? Post it there. Silly
love
joke
jokes.
time. We love jokes there. That brings me to the YouTube channel. If you haven't liked, subscribed at this point, I don't know. Just what's wrong with you?
Come on.
Give us a like and subscribe.
Come
Leave a
on.
comment. Most importantly, if you go to www.theokpodcast.com, you
Let me
will
make
find
sure
the social
that
media
domain is
links.
still up. Let me.
I've been saying it this whole time. We don't even have a domain.
It's up. Yeah, no, we're up.
verified.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
we're fine.
Okay.
You will find,
Come on,
if you
people.
go to the domain that is working, just verified as we speak, you will see all the links to the social media accounts. Give us a follow there. Interact with us there. Like, subscribe. Most importantly, we all have our each social media accounts that we are very involved in. I've actually been on X a lot this week. I don't know why, but 3 Gottlich. And I know everybody. I know Jeff's little handle. I know Grant's handle. So
What's my
just follow
handle?
there. Grant
Dot
SSC.
bot. No, I'm Grant SSC on Twitter. That's right.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I go
See,
with my
you knew
allegiance
it.
back. Yeah.
I freaking knew that.
Knew it.
right,
Let me see
did I
if
miss
this
anything?
works. It is. Whoa. Is that
What?
working?
What's going on?
Oh, well, look at this.
Is that the website?
Wow.
Wait, we can do this the whole time?
Yeah.
Dang.
It's
We
almost
just watch a movie.
What other
kinda
websites
like
can we go to?
It's kind of like the Drudge Report,
I
but for
freaking
podcasts.
love that format.
It's so simple.
The UX on it is so straightforward.
Yeah. If you're not watching us YouTube, you should. You have to ask your question, Trey.
What, my question? No, Coach, did I miss anything? I asked
No,
that.
you're good. Yeah, you're good. Episode 059 of the OK Podcast, powered by the Strength Co. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.